So let's start today's class.
Yes.
So in the last class, we were discussing about inheritance. We have discussed what is inheritance, what is the use of inheritance, type of inheritance or kind of inheritance. We have discussed, and we have also seen the implementation of all kind of inheritance. Okay. So I'm sure आप लोगों को inheritance clear होगा. Before we start, it must be your concept of inheritance should be clear. So किसी को कोई डाउट है इनहेरिटेंस में? नहीं, क्योंकि आप लोगों ने मिड टर्म में तो अच्छा लिखा, काफी अच्छा इनहेरिटेंस लिखा. वो कहाँ से लिखा मुझे नहीं पता, है ना? So inheritance is the process in which we allow a class to access the member of other class. Means we derive one class from another class. Okay, so it's followed one principle, inheritance principle. We inherit the properties of our parents. Okay, means a child inherit the property from its parents. Okay, means what the properties your father has, you will acquire. Okay, so this kind of principle we used in programming. Okay, so this is the basic concept. 1 minute, let me share the screen. What I want to say here, if there is a class A, it derived a class B. So what the property of class A has, it will copied by class B. So this class A is called parent class or super class or base class. Super class or base class. And this is a derived class or subclass. Okay. The class which acquire the property of another class is called derived class or subclass, and superclass or base class is the class which properties is acquired by another class. Okay. So what the function or data members, suppose A has two data, I or J, just consider I and J two data members and some function fun it has. We have declared in this class A two data and one function. So these two data and this function will copied as it is by class B, and it might be some another own function. It might be write one or function like fun F, and it has its own data A and B. Sorry, small a and small b. Okay, so it copies data from another class and it's maybe its own data it has. Okay, so this is the simple concept of inheritance. So in this concept inheritance, we have discussed many kind of inheritance. First, single inheritance or simple inheritance. There is only one class and another class is derived from one class. Okay, and multiple inheritance, there is a one class which is derived from more than one base class. Okay, this is the multiple inheritance. And multi-level multiple level inheritance, there's a one class and it's derived one class, and the derived class also derived one another class. Okay, so this sequence of inheritance is called multi-level inheritance. Okay, C is a subclass of class B and B is a subclass of class A. There's a multiple level of inheritance, so it's called a multi-level inheritance. And we have discussed hierarchical inheritance. Hierarchical inheritance, there is a one base class is deriving more than one subclass. This concept is hierarchical inheritance. The last we have discussed is the hybrid. Hybrid inheritance is nothing but a combination of these four inheritance: single level, multi-level, multiple, and hierarchical. Okay. So these five kind of inheritance we have discussed, and we also seen the example of all these kind of inheritance. Okay. So in today's class, we will discuss constructor and destructor in inheritance. Is the screen visible to all of you? My screen is visible to all of you?
Yes.
Okay. So in this class, we will see constructor and destructor in inheritance. Okay. So again, recall your concept of constructor and destructor. Recall the concept of constructor and destructor. Anybody can tell me what is constructor? If you know this concept, you can unmute your mic and speak. Nobody? Concept of constructor and destructor. What is it in C++? Constructor is nothing but a concept which, please tell if we know. Okay, so let me tell. Constructor, when we create a class, inside this class there's several function. When your function name is the same name, your function name is the same as your class name. When you create a class, create an object of that class, this function automatically called. Is called a constructor. Okay, so there is several kind of constructor. There is first is a default constructor. Second is parameterized constructor. Third is a copy constructor. We have seen all these kind of constructor. Okay, let me tell once again. If you create a class A, in this class A you create a function name is the same as your class name. Your function name is class name is A, and your function name is also A. So this A is a constructor. Okay, always your constructor in public area. Okay, always you declare your constructor in public, and when you do not pass any parameter to this function is called default constructor. When you passed some parameter to this constructor is called parameterized constructor. Okay. So what is destructor? Destructor is executed at the end of your scope, and it delete all these memory which is allocated to your class. Okay, this is kind of destroyer. Okay, it destroyed all the allocation of memory to your class. Okay, so this concept we have discussed. So now we will see this constructor and destructor concept in inheritance. Okay, so in inheritance, as you know, there is a concept of relationship between two class. Class A is a base class, and class B is a derived class or subclass. Okay, when you write a constructor in class A and constructor in class B, what will happen when we declare two constructor in these two different classes? What will happen? Okay, this concept we will discuss in this constructor and destructor inheritance. Okay, is it clear? Is it clear? This is the concept of inheritance. There is two class, and there is one relationship between these two classes, shown by this arrow is in inheritance concept. And this inheritance, there is a class A and class B, and a class A as its in a constructor, this name is A, and B as its constructor B. And what is the relationship, or what happened when we write this constructor into two different class, which is in follow the concept of inheritance. Okay, so I just write one program for this concept. Let's see. This is our program. In this program, as you can see, uh, first I start with this program with this header files iostream and conio. What is the meaning of why we are adding these header file into our program? Anybody, please unmute your mic and speak why I am adding this iostream header file into our program of C++. Part.
So
Yes, please, Nidhi.
input output
Yes, good.
input output के लिए
Okay, good, Nidhi. Yeah, iostream is nothing but a input output streaming. Means this allow us to input and output of your program. It takes the input and give the output. Okay. So and then conio.h and using namespace standard. One here I just declared a class base. I just give the name of this class is base. Okay, because the base class. Okay, first class, and this base class I just in the public area I declared a base function. When your function name and class name is same, means it's a constructor. When your function name is the same as your class name, it shows it is your constructor of this class. And in this constructor or this function do not have any parameter. It's not taking any parameter as an input, means it's a default constructor. We are not passing any parameter, means this base function is a default constructor. When it's fire or execute, it will print this message base class constructor. It will just give you this output or print the message. It's a base class constructor. Okay, in this base I just write this method. Okay, now my class is end. Okay, just close my class. Okay, so in the base class I just only one function which is base. It's not taking any inputs. It means it's a default constructor. And again I create a new class. Now I create a new class der, means just consider it a derived class. Okay, just create a class der, and here I just write public base. What is the meaning of this here? It shows this derived class is derived from base class. Okay, this statement shows that this derived class is deriving from base class. So there is a class base and it's deriving a class der. So there is a relationship between these two classes as inheritance. Okay, so when you write this, means what the properties this class has, it will acquire by this der class. Okay, so you establish the relationship between two classes. The next, this der class, again I just write in public area a der function. As you can see, again this der is the same as your class name, means it's a constructor and it's not taking any inputs. It means it's a default constructor of this class. And again it will print this some message which is derived class constructor. When this function will fire, it will print you message as derived class constructor. Okay, now my main method start. In main method I just declared, as you can see here, I just write drd, means d, your d, this d is object of which class? der. So this small d is an object of your class der. der is a class and d is the object of that class. Again, recall the concept of constructor. It says whenever you create object of class, your constructor automatically called. The concept of constructor says whenever you create an object of class, its default constructor automatically called. So here I just create an object d in class B. So the constructor of this class automatically called, means this function called, and it will print derived class constructor. It will print in front of you this message, derived class constructor. Okay, then it will print cout yy. You can write anything. I just write yy. Okay, and let's see. But the concept of inheritance says, 1 minute, somebody is waiting. Lobby. I'm not waiting. So in the concept of inheritance constructor, it says that whenever you create an object of that class, its constructor will call. But before this constructor of that class is called, its base class constructor called first. So what is written in your base class constructor, it will fire first. Means this method, this constructor will fire first, then its derived class constructor will fired. Okay, so which message will pop up first? In this program, when you create an object D of derived class, this constructor will call first, but it's automatically bind this base constructor. Again, I'm just repeating. In the concept of constructor inheritance, when you create an object of derived class, and when this derived class constructor will file, before its start, it will automatically bind or start with base class constructor. Okay. So it is automatically copy your base class constructor into derived class. So this base class execute first, then your derived class constructor will execute. So first it will print base class constructor and complete, then this message will print derived class constructor. Okay, so I want to say here is, in constructor in inheritance, your base class constructor will fire first, then your derived class constructor fire. Okay, so if you want to see in execution, I just open program. In the same code I just written in this compiler. Okay, the same code I just copied here, nothing has changed. Let's compile and run this code. First I compile and see the error. There's no error, no warning, and it's run. And now you can see it's printing the first base class constructor. Means base class constructor fired first, then derived class constructor fired, and last what your message is printed, it is printed as yy. Okay, so let's go back to this, and here as you can see, this constructor, the base class constructor fired first, then derived class constructor. You have created only one object of this derived class, but by default its property of this constructor inheritance, it will fire this base class constructor first, then derived class. Means whenever you create any object of derived class, it automatically copy your base class constructor into your derived class constructor and fire or run. Okay, is it clear? Is it clear?
सर यहाँ पे अगर अपन डिराइव्ड क्लास का ऑब्जेक्ट नहीं करते तो
नहीं करते. 1 minute, can you repeat your question?
सर डिराइव्ड क्लास का ऑब्जेक्ट अपन डिफाइन नहीं करते तो यहाँ पे इंटीजर मेन में.
Okay, you want to say here you do not creating any object of derived. Okay, when you do not create any object, there's no constructor will fire. Okay, so nothing will happen, only you will see yy message, no constructor is fired. Okay, let's see in program. 1 minute, I just remove this creating an object of default class, derived class. Okay, now see. Okay, let's run this code. Now you can see there's only one message pop up, which is YY. No default constructor, no derived class constructor is fired, no base class constructor is fired. Nothing is fired, only this message is pop up. Let's see. Oh, 1 minute. You create an object of base class. The name of base class is base, and create one object obj. Just give the name obj. Here my class name is base and my object name is as just given obj. Now let's run this code. Which constructor will fire, this base class constructor or default constructor or both the constructor? Let's see what your choice, what you want to say here. Which constructor will fire?
Base class.
Okay, so only this constructor will fire, base class. Derived constructor will not fire. Let's run this code and see. Now you can see only base class constructor is fired. No derived class constructor is fired. Okay. So the concept is, whenever you create an object of derived class, by default it's copy the base class constructor into your derived class constructor. Okay. In this order, first base class constructor will fire, then derived class. The order is always matter. Which constructor fire first? Base class constructor. Sorry. Base class constructor will fire first, then your derived class constructor will fire. This order you will follow. Okay. This is the concept of constructor in inheritance. Now see destructor. Destructor is fired. If you recall, concept of constructor and destructor. Destructor is fired when you your scope of the function is end. Means you're at the end of your program, your destructor will fire and it will deallocate all the memory allocation. The concept of destructor says that whenever your program is end, your destructor will fire and it will deallocate all the memory allocation. Okay. Now see the concept of destructor in inheritance. There's a two class, base class and derived class, and it's all these two class has its own destructor. Okay, so see this code. We have created the same code. The class name, base class name is base, and derived class name is derived, and it's derived from the base class. And it's here I just create a function base, and before this I just write this tilde operation, the tilde operator. This tilde operator shows that it is a destructor. Whenever you write the tilde operator before your class name or function name is the same as class name and function name, it shows it's a destructor. So it is now showing me this is a destructor. Okay, of this base class. This is a destructor of base class. In destructor there is no concept of default destructor or parameterized destructor. Destructor is destructor. Okay, there is no type of destructor. Okay, in here as you can see, this function name is dr is the same as the class name, and here as you can see again there is a tilde operator. So again it is a destructor of derived class. Okay. In both these destructor, I just write one message just to see which destructor is fired. Okay, base class destructor and derived class destructor. Okay, and in main method I just create one object of this derived class dr. Okay, means it's object creation. Whenever you create an object, constructor is fired. There is no constructor is defined, so nothing is fired. Okay, return 0. This program is end. Whenever you program now, as you return 0 and curly braces, it shows whenever you write this curly braces means it shows the end of program. Your main method is end. Okay, this curly braces shows that your main method is end, means your program has been completed. So when your program is completed, your destructor will fire. So this we have two destructor and your program is ended. So which destructor will fire, or only one destructor will fire, or both the destructor will fire, or if both the destructor fire, in which order the destructor will fire. Let's see. This is the concept of destructor in inheritance. When we have created an object of D and we have reached to the end of program, so it will destruct or destroy this derived class first. When it will destruct or destroy its derived class, then it will destroy the base class. Means first it will destroy your base class, then it will derived class, then it will destroy your base class. So it will follow this derived first, then base. Okay, but in case of constructor, it follows base first and then derived. Okay, in the constructor concept of constructor, it follows base class constructor first, then derived class. But in concept of destructor, it will execute destructor of derived class first, then base class. Let's run this code. I write the same code in this compiler and see the execution. Destructor, the same code I just copied from there, and see. First compile. If you can see, there is no error, no warning, so I can run this code. And now you can see derived class constructor fire first, then base class destructor fired first. Okay, but in the creation of creation means in the case of constructor, base class constructor fired first, then derived class. It follows the vice versa. Vice versa order. Means in the constructor it's followed base first, then derived, but in the case of destructor it's followed derived first, then base. Is this concept is clear? Is this concept is clear to all of you?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. If you have any doubt, you can unmute your mic and speak, or even you can write your doubt in chat. Okay.
जब मैं destructor use to destroy the object, तो हमें destructor को करने की जरूरत ही क्या है सर, जब destroy करना है object?
Okay. So it's the concept of destructor is says that if you do not destroy your memory, it may be misused. If the program length is too lengthy and there's a 1,000 of line your program, and you write many classes and you created many objects, and after the completion, or if there is no need of that object or class, you just destroy it. Otherwise, other class or other object which is not what I want to say, if is not related to you and it is not what trustworthy, you acquire your data and the functions, and it may be misused. So if your functionality has been completed of your class and object, you just destroy it. This destroy is not always fire at the end of program. It will fire at the end of block. If there isn't more in your program, there isn't many blocks. Okay, so you write always this destroy for that block, for that block only, not for the whole program. Okay, so in the program says that it's good practice always you destroy your class or the object of classes. Okay, if it is not necessary or useful, or your work has been completed, you just destroy it. Okay, so to just prevent your data. Is it clear, Nidhi?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the concept of destructor is just said in your program there's 1,000 of line, and 1,000 of line is distributed in divided into different blocks. There's a number of blocks, and this when this block is code of execution is completed, this destructor will fire and it will delete the particular class which belongs to that block only. Okay, this when this block is started, it's not able to access those classes because it's already destroyed. Okay, if it is present, if it not destroyed, it's present, and maybe it's possible this block of code can access your class. Okay, so prevent, just to prevent your data or function, it use destroyer. Okay, okay, so you can understand this concept once again in your classroom. When we if there is in a classroom, 1 minute, in your classroom we use a blackboard. Okay, this is the classroom and it's blackboard. Okay, so there's a suppose 6 lecture in a day. First teacher comes and he writes something in your blackboard. Okay, and after this class the next teacher will come. Okay, and again next teacher. So what the usually teacher do, what they taught, it will just erase it. Okay, why is it? It's just maybe another reason, but it's just considered your data or what it is. Do not read by the person which is coming next. Okay, okay, if it is not useful for the next class, it just destroy, you just erase it. This concept we followed in programming as well. Is it clear? Okay, so this is all about constructor and destructor in inheritance. Now we see that our next topic, which is constructor and destructor is over. Virtual class. Okay, is it clear? Constructor and destructor is clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the next topic is virtual class in C++. So again, just recall the concept of inheritance. There's a different kind of inheritance. First, see the hierarchical inheritance. There's just consider a class A. It's derived 2 classes. Just consider class B and class C. Which kind of inheritance it is? Is it? If one class derived 2 derived class, which kind of inheritance it is? Yes, it's a hierarchical inheritance. So what the function or what the data A has, it will, what the function, you just consider there is a function A, the function name is fun and it's declared under class A. When you create 2 subclass of this class A, this function is available for B as well, and this function is also available for C as well. So this function has now B has its copy, C has its copy. Just suppose after this creation of 2 classes, again these 2 classes create one more class. These 2 classes is deriving one subclass. This which kind of this inheritance is it? When more than 2 classes derive one another class. No, I'm just asking this. When B and C is driving one more subclasses. Yes, it's a multiple inheritance. Now B and C is 2 base class and which is driving one derived class which is D. Now when we derive one D subclass from more than 2 base class B and C, what the property of B or what the property of C, it will acquired by your class D. Means it took fun function from class B and same fun function is taking from C. Now D class D has 2 function fun which has the same name and same functionality. Is it not possible in C++? in C++, in a same class, there's not possible two functions with the same name. Or the same function, you cannot write for it twice in a same program. You cannot declare two two variable with the same name. It's not possible. So how we can solve this problem? How we can solve this problem in our programming? If this concept is required and this thing is not possible, you need this kind of inheritance. You need this kind of inheritance in your program, but the concept of this is not possible in C++. How you can do this? Or what is the need? This is the need, and how you can implement this code, which is your program in C++ is not allowed. So this concept we can, this concept or this need of this thing, we can we can do this using concept of virtual class. Now see how your virtual class is working. There's a class A, what I've just discussed, class A, and it's deriving two class B and C, and what the parameter of what the data A has, it's copied to B and C as it is, and now B has two data, B has its own data and A data, which is getting from got from class A, and B is the same case, C has its own data and the data from acquired by A. Now it's derived one more subclass D. Now D has its data D and data from B, data from C, and data from A and A. Means now A has ambiguity, means your data from A is copied two times, which is C++ is not supported. So the same, let's implement this or write the code for the same concept and see. Here I just write the code, what I'm just doing here till this line is cleared. And we have created one class C1. It's a base class. This class C1 I just created, this class C1. In this class C1 I just create one function C1 fun. Okay, and this C1 function just print I am C1 function. Okay, just ignore it in public area. Now I just create a class C2. Here as you can see, I'm just creating a class C2 from class C1. Means C1 is a base class and C2 is a derived class. So C2 we have derived from C1. Okay, and here as you can see, again I'm just creating one more class C3 and from C1. So again C1 is deriving one more class C3. Till this point I just created three class C1, C2, C3, and C2 is derived from C1, C3 is derived from C1. Okay, now in this next line I again created one more class C4, and C4 is derived from C2 and C3. So I've just created C4 class and from C2 and C3. At this point I think everything is cleared. Okay, I just created four different classes, C1, C2, C3, C4, and this is the relationship between all these four classes. C2 is derived from C1, C3 derived from C1, and C4 derived from C2 and C3, and all these four classes its own functions. As you can see, C1 fun, C1 has one function C1 fun, and C2 has a one function C2 fun, and C3 has a one function C3 fun, and C4 has a one function C4 fun. Means we have all these four classes its own function, and when you create a subclass from base class, its copy of data is also available. So C2 has C1 fun as well, and C3 is also C1 fun. It's taken from its parents. Okay, now C4 is derived from two different classes, C2 and C3. So what the property of C2 has, it will also available for C4. Now it's taken from C2. So what C2 has, C2 fun and C1 fun. It's also available for this class C4, and C3 property is also acquired. C3 fun is also available, it has, and C1 also available. So now you can see for C4, it's this 5 function, and out of this 5 functions, these functions C1 fun and C1 fun 2 times. It is available 2 times in C4, which is not possible in case of C++. So again, see the program in main method. I just create an object of this class C4. I create an object of class C4. One object obj is an object of C4, and it's called all these 4 functions one by one. Okay, C1 to C3, C4. Let's run this code and see how why this C++ is not support this concept. Just written the same code. I'm just erasing all this thing. Let's run virtual class concept. The same code I just written here. Nothing I have just changed. Let's run this code. First compile, and after the compilation you can see there is an error. What kind of error it is producing? In int main, there's a request for member C1 function is ambiguous. As you can see, this error, request for member C1 function is ambiguous. Is ambiguous means more than one copy is available. Okay, there's more than one copy is available, so that's why it's producing error. We can I cannot run this code, or C++ is not allowing me to run this code. There's a problem in my code. Okay, so how I can resolve this problem? Using concept of virtual function, a virtual class. So to resolve this ambiguity, when class A is inherited in both B and C, is declared as a virtual class by replacing the keyword virtual. Now if I declare this class A is a virtual, so it bypass 2 times copy this same data. Okay, so this is the syntax. How can you write the virtual class? A simple way. When you declare a class B, just write virtual public A, or write public virtual A. You can write virtual anywhere, before public or after public. Okay, so now your class A is a virtual class. Now in this here you can see, now this class A is a virtual class. When you create a virtual class, you just say this class A is a virtual. So whenever the data is copied by D, it will check there is no duplication in your copying the data. If there is a duplicate, as you can see, B is copying the same data and C is also copying the same data, so it will erase the duplication. Okay? Only one times the data is copied from class A, because class A is a virtual class. This is the syntax. You just write the virtual in front of your base class. Now the same code I just written here, and what the only one change I just done here is it I just done only one change in our code. I just write the virtual, the keyword virtual before the base class C1, and here virtual C1. Now I just say my class C1 is virtual class. Now it will allow me to run this code. Let's see this code in compiler. The same code, and let's write virtual before C1. Virtual. Now I just say this class C1 is virtual class. When we declared or create this class C2, which is deriving from class C1, and I just declare this class 1 is virtual. For the same, for class, when you create a class C3 from class C1, just write or says declared your class C1 is a virtual. Okay, now let's compile this code, and you can see it's not producing any error. There's no error, no warning. It's run smoothly. Okay, it's not producing any error because I just said this is class C1 is a virtual class. Okay, when you write a virtual, it's just says that no duplication is allowed or bypass. Now run this code, and you can see all four functions are executed in the same order in which I write. Okay, as you can see here, I just call this function C1 and now it's saying I am C1 function. Now I just called function C2 in the same way it's calling and executing. Okay. So this is the concept of virtual class. The concept of virtual class is that when you create this kind of inheritance, 1 minute I again just writing A, and from A it's creating two class C, B and C, and from B and C I'm just creating another class D. So if you see closely, you will find this. When you create more than two subclasses from a single class, it's called hierarchical inheritance. This is a hierarchical inheritance. When you create from more than two class, when you derived a class from more than two base class, it's called a multiple inheritance. This is a multiple inheritance. So the concept of these two, hierarchical inheritance, is combinedly called the hybrid inheritance. Okay. So when you implement this kind of relationship between classes, it may be you see there is a duplication of data. So to remove the duplication of data, we use virtual classes. Virtual classes do nothing but is bypass your duplication, or just it do not allow to duplication. Okay, it will copy data from its base class only one time. Is it clear? Is it clear to all of you? Am I clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if you have any doubt, you can ask, or if you do not have any doubt, you can write the attendance in chat and you can leave the class. Write A for apple in attendance chat and leave the class if you do not have any doubt.
Sir.
Yes, please, Garvit. Hoga, Nitish.
Multiple class.
Multiple class. Please repeat your question, Nitesh.
B or C multiple hybrid class
I'm not understanding what are you telling.
सर एक बार फिर बताना.
ये कॉन्सेप्ट ना देखिए, जब हम लोग कोई एक क्लास से एक से ज्यादा क्लास डिराइव करते हैं, जैसे हमारे क्लास एक ए हम एक क्लास से मोर देन वन सब क्लासेस डिराइव करते हैं, तो इस टाइप के इनहेरिटेंस को बोलते हैं हायरार्किकल इनहेरिटेंस. मींस यू आर डिराइविंग, मींस ए फादर हैज मल्टीपल चिल्ड्रन और चाइल्ड. ओके, ए हैज 3 चाइल्ड, so this concept is called the hierarchical inheritance. Okay, this A is just consider A is a father and it has 3 child, 1 2 3. So this concept is a hierarchical inheritance. One base class is deriving more than one subclasses, or in multiple inheritance there is a two or more than two classes creating a single class. Okay, when जब तुम्हारे पास दो या दो से ज्यादा क्लासेस मिलके एक क्लास को ड्राइव कर रही हैं, जब आपके पास दो या दो से ज्यादा क्लासेस मिलके किसी एक क्लास को ड्राइव कर रही थी, उस टाइप के इनहेरिटेंस को बोलते हैं मल्टीपल इनहेरिटेंस. ओके, और जब ये कंबाइन हो जाते हैं मल्टीपल या मल्टीपल हायरार्किकल और मल्टी लेवल, जब ये कंबाइन हो जाते हैं किसी भी ऑर्डर में, तो इसको हम बोलते हैं हाइब्रिड इनहेरिटेंस. जैसे हम जब दो इनहेरिटेंस यहाँ कंबाइन कर लिए हमने हायरार्किकल और मल्टीपल को, तो इस टाइप के इनहेरिटेंस को हम बोलेंगे हाइब्रिड इनहेरिटेंस. हाँ, आप बोलो नितेश.
ठीक है
बेटा, क्लियर है?
यस सर.
ओके, so after writing the attendance you can leave the class. Okay, thank you. Now I'm closing this meeting.